Hello fellow managers, in today's video I'm going to rank some of the best players under the age of 30 in FM24. If you like some of these players, you can sign them, or just don't. It's up to you. Disclaimer though, before this video starts, I want to say that this is purely my opinion, and your rankings may differ. If so, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I've decided on 3 criteria for each player's ranking. The first one is availability. For example, Caicedo, he may be a good player, but unless you manage Chelsea or a club that has a bank account of a small nation's GDP, you're not going to be able to sign him in your first season. The next criteria is potential, and including if players have a dynamic potential. And lastly, the obvious one is their current ability or stats. But wait, before we go to the first player, something needs to be done. Right, perfect. Starting with the first player, we have Erling Haaland. Being every manager's dream striker, Haaland ticks every single box, with crazy current ability and probably the highest potential ability. He has the stats of a Norwegian Viking ready to take over a village, but his downside is, like most of these players, availability. With a region of 250 million price tag, I think he should go to pro tier. Speaking of elite forwards, and probably someone who is pretty gettable if you have the cash to splash, is the one and only Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Kylian Mbappe. Again, he ticks all the boxes with his current ability, which are absolutely filthy. I can't imagine what his potential ability would look like. Well, I can. It's probably just gonna be maxed out everything. Personally, I think Mbappe could be pretty gettable for the right price, since his contract is coming to an end depending on your save. Therefore, I'm gonna be bold and put him in God tier. Don't care, get good. On to another forward. This list is probably going to be filled with them, but we move. The next player is Vinicius Jr. Similar to Mbappe, even though he plays for Madrid, I do think he's gettable, but if your club has enough reputation and wealth, I think this could be possible. He also has his contract expiring in June of 2024 in my save, so he could be persuaded to go somewhere else. I think his current ability and potential ability are pretty close, therefore I don't think he's super OP. So I think he fits right into pro tier. Going over to Italy, finding the Nigerian star Victor Osimhen. When it comes to availability, Victor Osimhen has a release clause of 100 million. If you have the budget, you can trigger it, or maybe you could try to persuade the star away with an appealing offer. His current ability in my opinion is a bit skewed, as I feel like his bravery and work rate isn't accurately represented, but I feel that with some work and seasons under his belt in a different league, his potential is limitless. Therefore, I think he should go to God tier. Mixing it up a bit, from all these forwards, we go to midfield. One of the most underrated DMs, in my opinion, is Bruno Grimash. He ticks most boxes in midfield, being pretty versatile and the ability to compete in any team. Although I think his potential ability won't be much different from his current stats, and I think he might be tough to get him away from Newcastle. And I think there might be better options out there in midfield, depending on what type of player you're looking for. For example, Basuma or Mateo Kovacic. Therefore, being a little hypocritical here, I feel that he should be the first player to go to Meh. Staying with midfielders, we find ourselves in Catalonia with Barca Wonderkids, Gavi and Pedri. I'm putting them together because I feel like they're just associated with one another, and I do feel they're both a bit overrated. But hey, it's just my opinion. Their current abilities are quite okay, with Gavi having a dynamic potential, making him a bit more favourable over Pedri. When it comes to availability, they both are off the table, making Barcelona's financial issues both known in real life and in game, by slapping on a huge release clause for both of them. So taking all this into consideration, I do think they're both going to Meh, but very close to Sunday League. And that's not being biased, just because I'm a Madrista. On to another midfielder, we have Jack Daniels' #1 customer is the one and only Mr. Jack Grealish. Jack's current ability is pretty good. His standout stats are those definitely of a wide player, like his crossing, dribbling, vision and so on. And I think he's only going to get better with his potential ability. I think Jack is also pretty gettable. He has a transfer value of 45 to 60 million. So I think if you give a healthy paycheck to City, they would accept it. So all things considered, I think he's a solid candidate for pro tier. Going over to the land of the Romans, is my opinion one of the most underrated ballers in Italy. His name is Federico Chiesa. His current ability is pretty solid with all-round stats, and I think he's only gonna improve. The issue with him is signing him. Although, presented with enough cash, I do think Juve might let him move on, but at his price point there probably are different players you can get. So I think he should go to meh. Keeping it in Italy, to an absolute Italian football legend and world champion, and this might surprise you that he's still under the age of 30, is the one and only Paulo Dybala. Dybala is a funny case. Even though he's been around for some time, some of his stats are insane and some of them just don't make any sense. Like 9 aggression and 4 positioning. If you research his potential ability, it's absolutely insane. So his room for improvement is massive, and I think it's pretty gettable. His sell value is a range between 10 and 20 million, and I think Roma would accept that. So hear me out. I think he should go to God tier, purely because I think he may be an extreme bargain for an elite forward. Showing some love to the defensive line, I present to you Eder Militao, a speedy centre-back with a well-balanced current stats, and is only 25. I think his potential ability could be pretty sick. His only drawback is his availability. With a hefty release clause and a contract till 2025, it could be difficult to acquire his services, and you probably could go get someone like Marquinhos or Kimpembe. So therefore, we can slap this bad boy into solid. Not going far and staying in Madrid, we have Jose Jimenez. He may not be the quickest, but he's a proper old school no-nonsense centre-back with the stats to back it up. Although with him being 28, I think his potential ability would be more or less the same as his current. On top of that is his price tag. He's got a release clause of 120 million and a market value, depending on your save, could range from 50 to 80 million. So I think we should put him in meh. Or actually, let's put him in solid. Moving to a goalkeeper, to the troll king himself and current world champion is Emiliano Martinez. Now you're probably thinking,
wait, he's not under 30.
But to be honest, he just turned 30 when FM24 came out. So I'll put him in on a technicality, and I think he's super underrated in the world of goalkeepers. His stats are solid and he probably won't improve, but his price is a no-brainer. You can get him for just about 30 to 50 million, maybe even less if your club has a high reputation. So considering all this, I'm gonna put him in pro tier, mostly because I love him. Lastly, but certainly not the least, is FC Porto's goalkeeper Diogo Costa. I have no clue how he hasn't gotten a big move in real life, but in game, he is absolutely a bargain. He's only 23 and has got pretty decent stats already. Thinking about his potential ability, he's going to be an absolute monster in goal. Again, a drawback is probably his release clause of 160 million and a sell value of 60 to 70 million. But if you have the cash, why not? Bias aside, I really like him, but his cost is just insane, especially if you're a lower level team. So I'm gonna put him in meh. But since I like him so much, actually let's move him to solid. I'm biased, I don't care.